Figure skating champion Alysa Liu taking a break from competition. Yesterday, the 21-year-old announced she will sit out the upcoming season and focus on personal growth. Liu won gold in women's singles at the Winter Olympics in February. She became the first American woman to win the Olympic title since Sarah Hughes in 2002. She says it's not a retirement. She plans to return for the 2027-28 season.
Alysa Liu is stepping away from skating once again. But this time, the message is very different. There is no dramatic goodbye. There is no permanent retirement announcement. And most importantly, there is no suggestion that this is the end of her story on the ice. Instead, Alysa has made one thing very clear to her fans. Fear not, she will be back. For someone whose career has already been filled with surprising twists, emotional decisions, and unexpected comebacks, this latest announcement feels almost perfectly in character. Alysa Liu has never followed the traditional path that people expected from a figure skating star. From becoming one of the youngest champions in American skating history to stepping away from the sport while still incredibly young, she has repeatedly shown that her life cannot be defined by medals, rankings, or what everyone else thinks she should do. And now, after returning to competitive skating and reminding the world exactly how talented she still is, Alysa is once again choosing to press pause. But why now? What does this break really mean? And perhaps the biggest question of all is whether Alysa Liu's promise that she will return could lead to another incredible chapter in one of the most unusual and fascinating careers in modern figure skating. To understand this moment, you have to understand just how unusual Alysa's journey has been from the very beginning. Alysa entered the skating world with enormous talent and quickly became known as a young athlete capable of doing things that many experienced skaters struggled to achieve. Her technical ability immediately made people pay attention. She wasn't simply another promising young skater with dreams of becoming successful someday. She was already making history. At a remarkably young age, Alysa became a major name in American figure skating. Fans watched as this small but fearless competitor stepped onto the ice and performed under pressure with a confidence that seemed far beyond her years. She was breaking barriers, setting records, and becoming one of the most exciting athletes to watch. But being a young superstar can also come with a tremendous amount of pressure. Suddenly, every performance matters more. Every mistake is analyzed. Every success raises expectations even higher. People begin discussing your future before you have even had enough time to fully experience the present. And for a teenager competing at the highest level of international sport, that kind of attention can become overwhelming. Alysa's career moved incredibly quickly. She won national titles. She represented the United States on the international stage. She competed against some of the biggest names in the sport. And eventually, she reached one of the greatest stages that any athlete could ever hope to experience: the Olympic Games. For many skaters, reaching the Olympics is the ultimate dream. It is the moment they spend their entire childhood working toward. Years of early mornings, difficult training sessions, injuries, sacrifices, and endless repetitions all lead to that one extraordinary opportunity. Alysa reached that stage while still extremely young. But after the Olympics, something happened that shocked many people in the skating world. At an age when most athletes are just beginning to imagine their future careers, Alysa announced that she was retiring from competitive skating. For fans, the news was difficult to process. How could someone with so much talent walk away so soon? How could a skater who had already achieved so much decide that she had seen enough? But Alysa's decision also revealed something important about her. She was willing to make choices for herself, even when those choices confused other people. She didn't want her entire identity to be controlled by skating. She wanted to experience life beyond the rink. She wanted to discover other interests, meet new people, and have the freedom to explore the world without constantly thinking about training schedules, competitions, scores, and expectations. For a while, it appeared that her competitive career had truly come to an end. Fans missed her, of course. Many wondered whether she would ever change her mind. The skating world is full of athletes who step away and eventually feel the pull of competition again. Once you have spent so many years training at an elite level, the sport can become part of who you are. Still, no one could be completely sure what Alysa would decide. Then came the comeback. And it was one of those moments that immediately captured attention throughout figure skating. Alysa Liu was returning. After stepping away from the sport, she had decided that there was still more she wanted to do on the ice. But this return was different from her earlier career. She wasn't simply the same young athlete trying to repeat what she had already achieved. She was older. She had changed. She had experienced life outside competitive skating. And perhaps most importantly, she was returning because she wanted to return. That difference mattered. When athletes are young, they sometimes find themselves moving through life according to plans created by coaches, parents, organizations, and expectations. Their schedules are filled from morning until night. Their goals are often decided years in advance. But Alysa's return appeared to come from a much more personal place. She had stepped away. She had lived without the constant demands of competition. And then, when the time felt right, she came back. That freedom may have given her a completely different relationship with skating. Instead of feeling trapped by the sport, she seemed able to approach it as something she had actively chosen again. And the results spoke for themselves. Alysa's comeback became one of the most compelling stories in figure skating. There was naturally curiosity about whether she could return to the highest level after spending time away. Could she regain her competitive form? Would she still be able to challenge the best skaters in the world? Those questions were answered in spectacular fashion. Her performances demonstrated that her talent had never disappeared. But beyond the technical elements and the scores, there was something else that many fans noticed. Alysa seemed different. There was a maturity in her skating. There was a greater sense of freedom. She looked like someone who had found her own reason to be there. That is what makes this newest announcement so interesting. Because when Alysa says she is stepping away, the situation is not the same as it was before. The words retirement and break can sound similar from the outside, but for an athlete, they can represent completely different things. Retirement suggests closing a chapter. A break means the story is still being written. And Alysa has specifically reassured people that this is not goodbye forever. Fear not, she'll be back. Those few words may seem simple, but they carry enormous meaning for the fans who have followed her journey. Alysa understands that people remember what happened the last time she stepped away. Naturally, some fans may have immediately wondered whether this could eventually become another permanent departure. After all, athletes sometimes announce breaks and later discover that they no longer want to return. But Alysa's message seems designed to calm those fears. This is a pause, not an ending. Of course, that does not mean we should expect her to return immediately or place a countdown on her comeback. One of the most important things about Alysa's career has been her refusal to allow other people to control the timeline of her life. If she says she needs time away, then time away is what she deserves. Elite figure skating is physically and emotionally demanding. The audience sees a few minutes of performance on competition day. They see the beautiful costumes, the music, the jumps, and the final score. But behind those few minutes are years of work. There are long days at the rink. There are falls. There are injuries. There is constant repetition. A jump that appears effortless on television may have been practiced thousands of times. And there is also the mental pressure. In figure skating, athletes are not only competing against their opponents. They are competing against their own expectations. They know that a single mistake can dramatically change the result. A fall, a missed combination, or an under-rotated jump can affect an entire competition. The pressure becomes even greater when an athlete is already famous. Every performance is watched. Every decision is discussed. And when you are someone like Alysa Liu, people have strong opinions about what you should do next. Some want you to compete more. Some want you to stay longer. Some want you to focus on specific competitions. But Alysa has repeatedly shown that she listens to herself. That may be one of the reasons her story resonates with so many people beyond the skating community. Her career is not simply about winning competitions. It is also about personal choice. How many athletes feel comfortable stepping away when the world is telling them to keep going? How many people can walk away from something they are exceptionally good at simply because they want to experience something different? And how many can later return without being embarrassed by the decision to leave? Alysa has done exactly that. She has challenged the traditional idea that an athlete must always be moving forward in a straight line. For her, life has had pauses, changes, unexpected turns, and apparently more comebacks. That is why this current break should perhaps be viewed as part of Alysa's larger journey rather than something to fear. She knows what it means to leave skating. She knows what it feels like to miss it. And she knows that returning is possible. This time, she is not saying that she is finished with the sport. Instead, she is openly telling people that she intends to come back. The bigger mystery is what Alysa's next chapter could look like when she eventually returns. Will she come back with new programs? Will she change her competitive goals? Will she take a completely different approach to training? Will the time away allow her to grow even more as an artist and athlete? Those are questions that only Alysa can answer. But if her history has taught us anything, it is that predicting her next move is never easy. And perhaps that is exactly what makes her story so exciting. In an era where athletes are often expected to follow carefully planned careers, Alysa Liu remains unpredictable. She has already retired and returned. She has already surprised people who thought they understood where her career was heading. And now, she is once again stepping away while leaving the door wide open for another return. For now, fans will have to wait. But this time, waiting may feel very different. Because Alysa hasn't left them wondering whether they will ever see her again. She has given them hope. Fear not, she'll be back. And if there is one thing we have learned from Alysa Liu, it is that when she decides to do something on her own terms, anything can happen. Her next return could be just as surprising as the first one. Could mark another transformation in her skating. Could introduce a version of Alysa that fans have never seen before. And when that moment finally comes, the skating world will undoubtedly be watching. Because Alysa Liu has already proven that walking away doesn't necessarily mean the end. Sometimes it simply means taking the time you need before beginning again. And for Alysa, the story is clearly not over. It may just be paused. The most interesting part of Alysa Liu's decision to step away is that it comes at a time when many people would probably expect her to do the exact opposite. After making such a remarkable return to skating, it would have been easy to assume that Alysa would immediately continue building momentum. Fans could imagine her moving from one competition to the next, chasing bigger results and setting her sights on every major event ahead. That is usually how the world of elite sports works. When an athlete is successful, the pressure to keep going becomes even stronger. People say, why stop now? Why take a break when things are going well? Why step away when you have proven that you can still compete with the best? But Alysa Liu has never seemed particularly interested in living her life according to other people's expectations. That may be one of the most powerful parts of her story. She understands something that many athletes learn only after years of exhaustion. Success does not mean you have to say yes to every opportunity. Just because you can keep going does not necessarily mean you should keep going without stopping. Sometimes, taking a step back can be just as important as moving forward. And perhaps Alysa understands that better than most. Her relationship with skating has already gone through several dramatic changes. She has experienced the excitement of becoming a young star. She has felt the pressure of being one of the most talked about athletes in the country. She has reached the Olympics. She has retired. She has lived away from the competitive world. And then she made the difficult decision to return. Every one of those experiences must have changed her perspective. The Alysa who first entered elite competition is not the same Alysa who decided to retire. And the Alysa who came back to skating is not exactly the same person who walked away before. That is why this break may actually be a sign of maturity rather than uncertainty. She now knows that she has a life outside the rink. But she also knows that she can return to the ice when she truly wants to. For many athletes, that realization can be incredibly freeing. You don't have to choose between being completely obsessed with your sport and abandoning it forever. There can be another option. You can take time. You can breathe. You can step away. And if the passion remains, you can come back. Alysa has already shown that a comeback is possible. That experience may be giving her confidence now. The first time she stepped away, there was no guarantee that she would ever compete again. Walking away from elite sports can be frightening because the moment you stop, the world moves on. New athletes appear. New champions emerge. The competition becomes stronger. And returning can seem almost impossible. But Alysa did it. She returned after time away and once again became one of the most exciting names in figure skating. That accomplishment alone changed the story around her career. She proved that her first retirement did not erase everything she had achieved. She proved that taking time away did not mean she had lost her talent. And perhaps most importantly, she proved something to herself. She could leave, and she could return. So now, when she tells fans not to worry because she'll be back, those words carry more weight. This isn't simply a promise from someone who has never tested the possibility of leaving. This is coming from someone who has already walked away once and found her way back. Of course, every break is different. Alysa's future cannot be completely predicted. Athletes change. Goals change. Life changes. But the important thing is that she is not presenting this moment as a final goodbye. And that distinction matters enormously. Figure skating fans are often deeply connected to the athletes they support. They don't simply watch a score appear on a screen. They follow careers for years. They remember breakthrough performances, difficult defeats, emotional interviews, and unforgettable programs. For Alysa's fans, her first retirement was genuinely emotional. Many had watched her grow up in the sport. They had seen her make history. They had seen her compete at the Olympics. And then suddenly, she was gone from competition. There was a sense that the skating world had lost someone with so much more to give. So when she eventually returned, the excitement was understandable. It felt as if a missing piece had come back. That is why this latest pause could naturally create some anxiety among fans. They remember what happened before. They know how quickly things can change. But Alysa's message seems to be saying something very simple. Don't panic. She isn't disappearing forever. She is taking a break. There is also something refreshing about an athlete being so honest about needing space. The sports world often celebrates endless determination. We hear phrases like never quit, push through the pain, and always keep fighting. Those ideas can be inspiring, but they can also become dangerous when people believe that stopping is always a sign of weakness. It isn't. Sometimes stopping is strength. Sometimes rest is strength. And sometimes knowing when to step away is one of the most difficult decisions a person can make. Alysa has already shown that she is willing to make difficult decisions. Imagine being a young athlete with enormous potential and choosing to leave the sport while people are telling you that you could achieve even more. Imagine knowing that millions of people may question your choice. Imagine hearing people say that you are wasting your talent. That must be difficult. But Alysa chose her own path. And now she appears to be doing it again. This is especially significant because figure skating demands so much from athletes at such a young age. Many elite skaters begin training when they are children. By the time they become teenagers, their lives can already be highly structured around the sport. School, travel, coaching, physical conditioning, choreography, competitions, and recovery all become part of a demanding routine. For someone like Alysa, who reached elite success so early, the intensity came even sooner. She experienced achievements that many skaters spend an entire lifetime chasing. But reaching your goals early can also create a strange question. What happens next? When you have already accomplished so much at such a young age, how do you decide what you truly want for yourself? Maybe that is one of the reasons Alysa's career has unfolded differently. She has never seemed afraid to ask herself whether she is still doing something because she loves it. And when the answer changes, she is willing to change too. That takes courage. It would probably be easier to continue doing what everyone expects. It would probably be easier to follow a traditional competitive schedule. It would probably be easier to avoid disappointing fans. But Alysa's career has shown that personal happiness matters to her. That doesn't mean she doesn't care about skating. In fact, her return demonstrated exactly how much the sport can still mean to her. If she didn't care, she would never have come back. Returning to elite competition after time away requires enormous effort. You cannot simply decide one morning that you want to become a world-class figure skater again and expect everything to return instantly. There are countless hours of training. There is rebuilding physical strength. There is recovering technical consistency. There is learning to handle competition pressure again. And there is the emotional challenge of standing in front of the world after being away. Alysa accepted all of that. She chose to come back. And that is why her promise to return should not be taken lightly. She knows what it takes. She knows the sacrifices involved. She knows the difficult work behind a comeback. Yet she is still telling people that this is not the end. Perhaps she simply needs to recharge before deciding how she wants the next chapter to unfold. And honestly, that may be the healthiest approach. Instead of forcing herself to keep competing simply because she is expected to, she can step away and make sure that her heart is still fully in it when she returns. That could make her even stronger. A break can change an athlete's perspective. When you are competing constantly, it is easy to become trapped inside a routine. Every day becomes focused on the next practice, the next competition, the next score. You may stop seeing the bigger picture. Time away can remind you why you started. It can help you rediscover what you actually love about your sport. Or it can help you change the things that were no longer working. Alysa may return with a completely fresh perspective. Maybe her goals will be different. Maybe she will care less about proving something to other people. Maybe she will focus more on performances that feel personally meaningful. Maybe she will experiment with different styles. Maybe she will simply return because she misses the feeling of stepping onto the ice. That is the beauty of her story. There is no obvious script. Fans can speculate, but Alysa is the only person who truly knows what comes next. And based on her past, she may surprise everyone again. There is also the question of what her absence means for the sport itself. Alysa Liu is not just another name on a competition list. She represents a generation of athletes who are changing how people think about sports careers. The old model was simple. You start young. You train constantly. You compete for as long as possible. And eventually you retire. But life is rarely that simple. Alysa's career has shown that a path can include multiple endings and multiple beginnings. You can retire and come back. You can change your mind. You can grow in a different direction. And none of that means your earlier choices were mistakes. That is an important message, especially for young athletes. There is enormous pressure on young people to decide who they are and what they want to do for the rest of their lives. But Alysa's journey suggests that it is okay not to know everything. It is okay to make one decision and later make another. It is okay to step away from something and discover that you miss it. And it is okay to return. Maybe that is why so many people connect with her story even if they know nothing about triple jumps or international skating competitions. Everyone understands the feeling of needing a break. Everyone understands what it means to outgrow one version of yourself. And many people understand the fear of wondering whether you can return to something after leaving. Alysa has lived through all of those experiences in public. That cannot be easy. When ordinary people change their minds, they often do so privately. But when a famous athlete changes direction, the entire world can have an opinion. Every decision becomes a headline. Every absence becomes a mystery. Every return becomes a major story. And Alysa has handled that unusual reality in her own way. She has never tried to pretend that her life would follow one predictable plan. Instead, she has allowed herself to change. That may be the real meaning behind this latest announcement. She isn't saying goodbye. She is saying, not yet, not right now, but I'll be back. And those words leave fans with something incredibly important. Anticipation. Because the moment Alysa decides to return, the questions will immediately begin. What has she been working on? How much has her skating changed? Will she look stronger? Will she bring back the same competitive fire? Or will she reveal a completely new side of herself? Whatever happens, there is no doubt that people will be watching. The skating world knows what Alysa is capable of. But perhaps the most exciting thing is that nobody truly knows what she will do next. She has already taught everyone not to assume that her career will follow a predictable pattern. Her first retirement shocked people. Her comeback shocked people. And now, even this break has arrived with a promise that she will eventually return. It feels less like the closing of a door and more like a temporary pause between chapters. For Alysa, the ice will still be there. The sport will still be waiting. And when the moment feels right, she can decide once again whether she is ready to step back into the spotlight. Until then, fans will have to be patient. That may be difficult, especially for people who want to see her compete again as soon as possible. But if Alysa's journey has taught us anything, it is that giving her the freedom to make her own choices may be the best way to support her. She came back once because she wanted to, and when she comes back again, it will hopefully be for exactly the same reason. Not because of pressure. Not because of expectations, not because people demanded it, but because Alysa Liu herself decided that the time was right. And perhaps that is when the next great chapter of her story will truly begin. For now, as Alysa Liu steps away from competitive skating once again, there is one important difference between this moment and the first time she left. This time, there is already a comeback story behind her. She knows what it means to walk away from the ice. She knows what it feels like to build a life outside the intense world of competition. And she also knows what it takes to come back. That experience may be the reason her latest message feels so calm and confident. She is not making a dramatic announcement. She is not closing the door and telling everyone that her competitive career is finished forever. Instead, she is offering a simple promise. Fear not, she'll be back. For fans, those words may be enough to turn disappointment into excitement. Of course, nobody wants to see a favorite athlete disappear from competition. When someone as talented and unique as Alysa steps away, there is always a feeling that something will be missing. The skating season will continue. New stars will rise. Major competitions will still take place. But Alysa Liu has a presence that cannot easily be replaced. Her story is different. Her path is different. And the way she approaches her career is different. She is not simply defined by how many medals she wins or how high she places in a competition. Yes, those achievements matter. They are part of her history and proof of her extraordinary ability. But Alysa has become something more interesting than a traditional sports success story. She has become an example of someone who refuses to let one passion control her entire life. And that may be one of the reasons her journey has become so meaningful. For many athletes, walking away can feel impossible. When you spend years building your identity around one sport, the idea of stopping can create a frightening question. Who am I without this? Alysa has already faced that question. She stepped away from skating and experienced another life. She discovered that there was a world outside training sessions and competitions. She had the chance to grow as a person rather than simply as an athlete. Then something remarkable happened. She realized that having a life outside skating did not mean she could never skate again. That is a powerful lesson. Sometimes people believe they must make permanent decisions about everything. They think they have to choose one path and follow it forever. But life doesn't always work that way. You can leave something, you can learn, you can change, and one day you may decide to return. Alysa's career is proof that a pause does not have to destroy a dream. In fact, sometimes a pause can save it. Maybe the reason she was able to return with such excitement and freedom was because she had allowed herself to leave in the first place. If she had forced herself to continue when she no longer felt happy, perhaps skating would have become something she resented. Instead, she stepped away. She gave herself space. And eventually, she found her way back. That is why fans should perhaps view this latest break differently. It doesn't necessarily mean Alysa is losing interest in skating. It may simply mean she understands herself well enough to know when she needs time. And there is nothing wrong with that. Actually, in the world of elite sports, that kind of self-awareness can be incredibly valuable. The pressure to keep competing can be relentless. Athletes are constantly told to think about the future. What is your next competition? What is your next goal? How can you improve? Who are you competing against? What title can you win next? There is rarely a moment when someone says, maybe you should simply stop for a while and ask yourself what you need. But Alysa appears willing to ask that question. And her fans may need to accept that her journey will never be completely predictable. She may take unexpected breaks. She may change her goals. She may surprise everyone with another return when people least expect it. But perhaps that unpredictability is part of what makes her so fascinating. Every time the skating world thinks it knows where Alysa Liu is going, she finds a new direction. That is not necessarily a weakness. It may actually be one of her greatest strengths. Because Alysa is not trapped by a single version of herself. She was once the young skating sensation making history. Then she became an Olympian. Then she became the athlete who shocked everyone by retiring while still so young. Then she became the former skater who chose to come back. And now she is entering another period of her life where she is stepping away, but with a promise that the story will continue. How many athletes can say they have experienced all of that in such a short period of time? Very few. And that is why Alysa's future remains so interesting. The next time she returns to competition, She may be even more confident than before. She may understand the sport in a completely different way. She may care less about outside opinions. She may feel more comfortable taking risks. And she may approach every competition with the knowledge that skating is something she chooses, not something she is forced to do. That freedom could become incredibly powerful. Think about what happens when an athlete stops competing only because everyone expects them to continue. Eventually, the pressure can become too heavy. But what happens when an athlete comes back because they genuinely want to? The answer can be extraordinary. There is a different kind of energy, a different kind of motivation. You are no longer trying to satisfy everyone else. You are there because you want to be there. Alysa's previous return gave fans a glimpse of what that could look like. She came back and reminded everyone of her talent. But beyond the results, there was also a sense that she had grown. She wasn't just trying to recreate the past. She was building something new. That is why her next comeback could be even more exciting. A break does not mean standing still. Even when she is not competing, Alysa will continue living, learning, and changing. Every experience outside the rink can become part of the person she brings back to the ice. Maybe she will return with new artistic ideas. Maybe her musical choices will be different. Maybe her style of skating will evolve. Maybe she will have a completely new understanding of what she wants from competition. Or maybe she will simply return with the same love for skating, but a stronger understanding of how to balance that love with the rest of her life. Whatever happens, there is no reason to rush her. That may be the most important message for fans. If Alysa says she will be back, then let her come back when she is ready. Elite athletes spend so much of their lives following schedules created by other people. There are coaches, competitions, national teams, sponsors, media obligations, and endless expectations. Perhaps taking control of her own timeline is one of the greatest gifts Alysa can give herself. And when she eventually returns, the anticipation will make that moment even bigger. Imagine the first announcement. Alysa Liu is coming back. The skating community would immediately explode with excitement. Fans would start sharing old performances. People would discuss what she had been doing during her time away. Everyone would wonder when her first competition would be. And the questions would begin all over again. Can she do it? Can she return to the highest level? Can she challenge the best? But if history has taught us anything, it is that Alysa should never be underestimated. She has already faced those questions before, and she answered them by returning. That is what makes her promise so intriguing. She doesn't need to explain every detail right now. She doesn't need to reveal exactly when she will come back. She doesn't need to tell everyone what her long-term plan looks like. For now, the message is enough. This isn't goodbye. Just wait. I'll be back. There is something almost cinematic about that. Alysa's entire career has been filled with moments that felt impossible to predict. Her journey has had the kind of twists that people would probably find unrealistic if they were written into a fictional sports movie. A young prodigy rises quickly. She makes history. She reaches the Olympics. Then, at an age when everyone expects her career to be accelerating, she retires. Years later, she returns. And now, after proving she can still shine, she steps away again. But this time she makes it clear that she isn't finished. That isn't a normal career. But perhaps Alysa was never meant to have a normal career. Her story is uniquely hers. And maybe that is the real lesson here. There is no single correct way to live a life. There is no rule that says you have to continue doing something forever simply because you are talented at it. There is no rule that says changing your mind makes your previous decisions meaningless. And there is definitely no rule that says a break has to be the end. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away for a while. And sometimes the most exciting thing you can do is return. Alysa Liu has done both. So while some fans may feel sad that they will not see her competing for the moment, perhaps they can also feel grateful. Grateful that she is being honest about what she needs. Grateful that she has not called this a permanent goodbye. And grateful that somewhere ahead, there may be another moment when Alysa steps onto the ice and begins a new chapter. Until that day comes, the skating world will continue moving forward. New competitions will take place. New champions will emerge. New stories will capture attention. But Alysa's name will remain part of the conversation. because her absence is not being viewed as the final page. It is simply a pause. And pauses can be powerful. They give us time to reflect. They give athletes time to recover. They create distance that can make us appreciate something even more. And sometimes, they create the perfect conditions for an unforgettable return. Maybe that is what this moment will become. Maybe years from now, fans will look back at this break as the quiet moment before another major comeback. Maybe Alysa will return and surprise everyone once again. Or maybe her future will take a direction that nobody can predict. After all, that has been the one constant throughout her career. Alysa Liu does things her own way, and perhaps that is exactly why people will continue supporting her. They may not always know what she is going to do next. They may not always understand every decision immediately. But they know that when Alysa makes a choice, it is her choice. In a sport filled with pressure, expectations, and carefully planned careers, that independence is remarkable. So for now, the best thing fans can do is exactly what Alysa seems to be asking them to do. Don't be afraid. Don't assume this is the end. Don't panic, because she says she'll be back. And when she does return, it may be another reminder that the most interesting journeys are not always straight lines. Sometimes they move forward. Sometimes they pause. Sometimes they take unexpected turns. And sometimes, after everyone thinks they know how the story ends, the person at the center of it opens the door and says there is still more to come. For Alysa Liu, that appears to be exactly where we are now. Not at the end. Not at a final goodbye. But somewhere in between one chapter and the next. The lights may dim for a while. The competitions may continue without her. The fans may have to wait. But somewhere down the road, there could be another moment when Alysa walks back toward the ice. Another moment when her name appears on a competition list. Another moment when the music begins. Another moment when the crowd realizes that she really did come back. And when that day arrives, it may feel even more special because of the journey that came before it. She has already shown that she knows how to leave. She has already shown that she knows how to return. And now, once again, she is asking everyone to trust her. Fear not. Alysa Liu will be back. And until then, one thing remains certain. Her story in figure skating is far from over.